So by far the most fear I've ever felt before a course, the most afraid I've ever been to teach a survival course was when I got hired to teach a course at the United States Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center. So if you don't know what that is, this is where the Marine Corps sends its people to learn things like how to be a sniper, high angle shooting, climbing, mountaineering, rappelling from helicopters, SEER training. The men and women that work there, that train there, that teach there are absolutely incredible. They are highly skilled and highly dangerous individuals. And I'm sitting at home one day and I get this call. Hey, yeah, this is Colonel so-and-so from the United States Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center. And I'm like, my jaw just dropped. You want to think, is this fake? But if you've ever heard a Marine Corps colonel talk, then you could just tell by their voice that, yeah, this guy is who he says he is. And he says, he wants me to come to the MWTC and train their survival instructors, train their survival instructors, right? So of course, you want to think it's a joke, but it wasn't. He said that he wanted me to come up and give their guys 10 days of field training, no classroom stuff, right? We'll start off in the classroom for like an hour, and then we hit the field, and that's what I did. And I was so intimidated, and rightfully so. And I think it was smart to be intimidated. I went in the mountains. I did my own little like Rocky montage. I was working out super hard every day, and I was oh, I haven't made a friction fire with this kind of tree yet. Oh, I haven't made a friction fire with this kind of tree yet. I haven't made a friction fire with this kind of tree yet. Let me practice my traps. Let me set this up. Let me build another shelter. And I put myself through my own little like survival boot camp and fitness boot camp so I could be crisp when I showed up. And I have to say, I feel like something was looking out for me on that 10-day course. We did start in their classroom. They have an amazing survival classroom there, like SEER classroom, with hides from every different type of animal that you could imagine that they've trapped and tanned out. They really are serious about their survival training there and their outdoor skills, and they're good at it, man. So I did like a 1-hour PowerPoint to talk about, just basic principles of survival and seem professional, right? And these guys just looked at me like they hated my guts. Like they did not want to be in a classroom. They did not want to listen to some civilian doing a PowerPoint. And I remember during the presentation, I try not to swear, but every once in a while, like an F-bomb comes out. And I accidentally let out an F-bomb by saying something. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And the whole class was like, no, please, no. Just like, that's okay. Now, as far as the field training goes, it almost felt like I was being set up for failure because I told them the first thing we're going to do is we're going to train on friction fires, how to make a fire with sticks. And it was raining for 3 days before I got there. It was still light rain when I got there. And I don't know how I did it, but we left the classroom. We went outside. I said, okay, just watch what I do. From harvesting everything right there at the creek by the base to fire in the rain, it took less than 30 minutes for me to get the friction fire going. And once they saw that, they were on my side. And things got a lot less tense. They opened up. They were more willing to ask me questions, and seek my advice. After that, from there we went on. We did a Paiute deadfall trap. They were doing figure fours before that. I don't expect you to know the difference. It's a primitive small game trap. And within 15 minutes of one guy being done, they had a chipmunk in the trap. So everything we did like that, I showed them the atlatl, and 30 yards away, pierced right through a little branch that was overhanging the trail. And I mean, everything worked out that way. Everything I did went so smooth and worked so well the first time. I was just, and you have to understand, every single thing I did, it doesn't matter that I built a million shelters. I've done a million friction fires. I was so anxious before I didn't show it. Before everything I did, I was so anxious, and it would work out. I would just be like, oh, right. So it went by all, by any standard for me, it went incredible. One of the guys just had a fresh deer, and he invited me to his home where him and his wife cooked for me and my assistant. And to this day, it's the best deer I've ever had in my life. I don't know the recipe. If I can ever get a hold of him again, I want that recipe. It was incredible. His wife made this incredible dessert, and they looked nice and everything. It gave me such great hospitality, and I was able to get such a knowledge exchange. So these are Marine Corps survival instructors. So of course, as a survival instructor, I wanted to pick their brains as well. So I got to learn so much from them side by side. And the event culminated with a few days living off the land in shelters, and everybody kicked butt. Their shelters kicked butt. They found so much food. So the culmination exercise was incredible. Living off the land, sleeping in A-frames. We caught fish by hand, trout tickling. It was awesome. So I kept in touch with a lot of the guys afterward. One of their lead instructors, when he got out of the military, came and taught with my school a little bit. And I talked to them after. I said, "How did your next survival class go after the one with me?" And they said, "Well, the one before you, we had a really high drop rate. We had a lot of guys dropped out of the course. The one we did after you, where we incorporated the stuff that we picked up from you in with our stuff, we only lost one guy, and to use their words, he was a fat fuck anyway." So I don't refer to people like that, but these guys really are stone cold killers. Everything seemed to go really well. I got invited to do a bunch more stuff with them. So even though everything went that good, I was just scared to death the whole time. So much so when it was finally over, going down the street, I had a partner with me, an assistant. I told him, pull over. Pull over. I had to stop, get out of the car, kind of just drop to my knees and just breathe for a second, and just be thankful to the universe that I did it, that I pulled it off. And they invited me to do some more stuff. I even made a DVD for them on the edible, medicinal, useful plants of the Mountain Warfare Training Center. Not sure if they still have that, or they made it 10 times better for their own use. Me and their head instructor, one of their head sniper instructors, a few weeks later, went on a 4-day trip where we lived off the land with basically just a knife or hand fishing. We did 30 miles off trail. They said to me, let's do something where we could die, man. Let's do something where we could just die out there. It's got to be hardcore. And I was like, okay. So we did a lot of miles off trail, a lot of river crossings, just living off the land. And this is an odd story, but at the end of that hike, we wound up near what's called Johnsondale in the Sequoia National Forest. And there was this restaurant thing. And there was this nice older lady, retired lady, that had just sold it. She's moving everything out. And she said, "Hey," and we went in for our first meal in 4 days. And she said, "Hey, I'll give you guys." "Oh, you guys are Marines?" I'm like, "Well, not me, them," right? And she goes, "I'll give you guys your meal for free if you help me move." So we had just been living off the land for 4 days. Did I don't know how many miles, at least 30 miles off trail. We went from 4,000 feet. We went from 4,000 feet to almost 10,000, back down to 5,500, back up to over 7,000. All living off berries and hand fishing and all that. And then we moved a whole restaurant. We moved all this, loaded up in a truck, unloaded it in their storage, all that. And that just reinforced to me how awesome these guys were. And for them to want to do that as well, I'm like, I want to help the old lady, but for these guys to do all that and then want to help the old lady too is just, sorry if you see this, ma'am. I don't mean to call you an old lady. You were really nice. But yeah, it was awesome. It was really awesome. And then lo and behold, about a month goes by and I get this letter in the mail that, it made me want to cry. I couldn't believe, I couldn't believe what they said about me, what they said about the training. And I don't know if you know how hard it is to start a survival school. It's not easy. And I was struggling. I gave up a career in fire to shoot out on my own. Maybe it was silly, maybe it wasn't, but I was going broke real fast. And there was a group that used to train out of LA that thought I was taking their business. They're long gone now, but they left me all kinds of fake reviews on Yelp and across different survival forums and stuff that used to be on the internet. And I was going out of business. And that letter that I'm going to put up here, that letter they sent me saved my business. So yeah, the U.S. Marine Corps saved my survival school. And a lot of people came to train with me because of that letter. They didn't care if I was 1 star on Yelp or whatever. They saw what the Marines wrote and they wanted to experience it. And that gave me time to build a reputation, to let the public see. Don't, these fake reviews, all that, the filtered section of Yelp, don't worry about all that. You come and train with me, you see the real deal, you're going to get the real deal. And after that, it cascaded. I taught United States Navy EOD. That's part of their special operations. Air Force EOD several times. Navy EOD several times as well. United States Army Aviation. I've had several Department of Defense contracts as well. And, so yeah, I absolutely love those men and women. I love that training center. And even though I've never been a Marine, of course, it has a very, very special place in my heart. So I'm going to put the letter up. Maybe I'll do a little AI voice thing to read it off so you can see what they had to say. And hey, if any of you guys are watching this, dude, thanks so much. It was crazy. Absolutely nuts. One of the best experiences of my life. Something I'll be able to tell my grandkids about. It's an honor and a privilege for a civilian to be brought in there to teach. So I guess sometimes, things have a way of working out. And I'll tell you what, those Marines have a way of making things work. Okay, I guess that's all I can say. That's it. That's good, right? The instruction during your Survival Training School of California course from 14 to 23 May 2013 was extraordinary. It was your combined efforts and support during this course that allowed the Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center Marines to learn new techniques and hone existing skills that are critical to their mission accomplishment. You exceeded all expectations as a survival instructor. Your extensive knowledge and steadfast ability to perform your duties as an instructor has truly been an asset to the training center and earned the respect of the Marines. You not only demonstrated expertise of duties in the classroom, but also in the field and in the execution of on-site training. Your abilities were instrumental in ensuring the delivery of technical and tactical information and its understanding to the Marines of the MWTC attending the course. Furthermore, you solely completed an extensive training event with no support from outside agencies, which enhanced our survival capabilities as well as ability to teach survival in the future. During the STSC course, you safely and successfully trained personnel with various experience and operational backgrounds while far off trail and with only natural resources. Your attention to detail and proficiency allowed for all of the students to effectively complete the course. Your efforts in accomplishing professional training during the STSC courses were outstanding. Your knowledge and perseverance were tools that allowed the students to achieve course success and to be better prepared for real-world missions as well as teach and lead Marines. Your hard work and arduous hours toward maintaining a constant through flow of training and education are greatly appreciated. J.J. Carroll Jr., Commanding Officer, United States Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center. It's kind of crazy how they hire me, the reasoning behind hiring me. I'm a former wildland firefighter, and I remember being on a fire and hearing that one of the water dropping, retardant dropping planes, the wings had just fallen off in midair. And of course the pilot was killed, a plane with no wings, right? It's just a missile straight into the ground. Absolutely terrible tragedy. It sucked to hear about. It turned out the fire he was fighting was a fire that got loose from the Mountain Warfare Training Center during one of their summer survival courses. So they had put a kibosh on the training for 2 years. So after the 2-year break, they wanted to get started up again, and someone had the crazy idea of, hey, let's get some outside eyes on this. And they looked me up, and it was actually some of the YouTube videos that I saw. They recreated the way I did friction fires and stuff from some YouTube tutorials I did. They said it was the best they had ever been able to do it. So they said, hey, he's fairly local, let's hire this guy. And I actually did one class in the military before this. It was for the United States Navy, the X-31. I did a talk at a safety stand down to like 300 sailors. And I felt so sorry for them, not just because they had to listen to me, but when I was a firefighter, we had safety stand downs, and those suck. This is like the one time in your life you want a fire to start so you can get out of there. I know they're great. I know they save lives and it's important, but nobody wants to take the day off for a safety stand down when you can be in the field. At least nobody that I would associate with. Right?